Hey everybody. For today's video, we're going to go over the pre-release update notes that were posted on the Mind Over Magic official Discord. Now I don't want to call these patch notes because they're not patch notes. They're pre-release changes that they're going to implement or potentially implementing in their first release of 2024. So I am guessing that most of these will probably make it into the release. I don't know when this is coming out though, but I figured it would be good to talk about, so give you something to look forward to with some future updates here, because I think there's some pretty good stuff. So anyways, let's get started. So first off, they're adding a tiny chest for storage. I think that maybe the tiny chest could be used for scenarios where you just want a few stacks of an item nearby. So maybe with like gut berries. You could put a few stacks of gut berries near your dining area so that your vivified have something to eat nearby, but you don't want an entire big chest full of gut berries. I guess it just depends on how many stacks the tiny chest can hold. If it can just hold one stack, I actually think that would be really amazing. But time will tell. We'll see. Next up, Bitterrice is going to grow much faster. I think this is a huge quality of life change that will reduce the requirement to have so many nature mages. Also, it'll just make it so that you don't need to have so many plots of bitter rice. I'm assuming that they're not changing how much bitter rice you get per plot, which I believe is 3. So anyways, next up, and I think this is the biggest change we've got. Most high-end food now costs fewer resources, but takes longer to cook. This is huge. I think that one of the problems with the later game is that the food costs 6 or 7 resources to produce just one single meal. So this should really cut down on that. I hope that they significantly reduced it to where the high-end food costs like 3 to 4 ingredients rather than, 6 or more. Next up, we've got the haul job is no longer used to provide ingredients to crafting stations. I think this is a pretty big change too, and I think it's going to speed up crafting a lot. I get kind of frustrated when I've got somebody that's cooking or crafting wands and they stop crafting and go do something else halfway across the map while the haulers bring things to the station. So hopefully this cuts down on the time it requires to craft anything in the game. Midden jellies can now be placed on floors and foundations. That's nice. I did notice that you couldn't place them on floors and foundations and thought that was weird since you can place all the other refining beasts on floors. But overall, I don't think it's a huge change. I think it's more of a bug fix to me. The Atelier now properly extends quilted lifespans. Okay, this is awesome because the Atelier is supposed to increase their lifespan by 100%. In my testing, I couldn't really see that happening. It looked like the new quilted still had like 3 days or so of lifespan whether they were created in there or not. So it's good to see that that was truly a bug, and I'm not just crazy. Ignium recipes now require thorn teeth but fewer anemone cells. This is a huge nerf to Ignium production. Thorn teeth are so tough to come by, and it's really hard to get the plants that you need for those thorn teeth to spawn. Like they're at the very end. I hope that they also increase the thorn teeth spawn rate, because in my really advanced playthrough, I'm on day like 250. I've only got two thorn teeth domesticated. So yeah, I really hope that they increase the spawn rate of those. New higher level horrorculture event that drops brains and eyeballs. That's exciting because the only way to get brains and eyeballs right now is from killing Croa. So having another way to get those will be awesome. Voidshrooms now only affect one mage at a time. Wow, that's nice. I mean, I would say that the impact of Voidshrooms is overall pretty low, unless you're like close to breaking constantly, which is not good. But I did notice that if you have fields of Voidshrooms and your folks go through them, they all get that debuff. So hopefully that happens a little bit less. The Runaway break will now place a crystal just outside the fog rather than inside it. I think this is another big buff, making the Runaway not so scary. I mean, one of the big problems about the Runaway is if it happens and you're basically pushed out to like where the rune wood is, It is really tough to push the fog out at that point, especially if you're early on in that chapter of your base. So I think that that's a really good change, and it makes it just less punishing to have the runaway break. The other thing, mages trapped inside a crystal will have their needs frozen. So again, another change to make the runaway break not as penalizing as it once was. I think that's good. That was definitely the worst break in my opinion. There were also some improvements. I'm not going to go over any of these. I don't think there's anything that's really monumental here. I'll put them up on the screen though so you can read at your leisure. The few items here that I think are kind of important are that they added a feed alert when mages have a conviction target that's low enough to trigger a break. So that'll be nice to hopefully nip that in the bud before it happens. They also added some new key binding options for panning the fog left or right or to the mana font, and also a quick save option. So that's nice. There are also some fixes and updates coming out in this next version. I'm not going to go over all of these. Again, I'll put them on the screen here. But for the most part, it sounds like there are a few instances of games breaking that they fixed. Here's an update. Indoor planters no longer can receive more than 100% light. Man, RIP to our indoor farms. I think that that's a pretty big nerf right there. And it's kind of sad to see that that wasn't intended. Those are the updates that we'll hopefully see in the next few days, maybe a few weeks. They don't have a release date set. It just says first release of 2024. So we'll see. I think there's some really good stuff here. I think that overall there's some really positive changes being implemented, and obviously we love to see the bug fixes. I mean, although realistically, like, I haven't encountered very many bugs at all in this game. I also haven't had a single crash, and I've got almost 100 hours. So I think that's, for a game that just came out in early access, I think that's crazy good. Like, these guys did a good job polishing this game before bringing it to early access. So kudos to Sparky Pants for pulling this off. Great job. All right, that's all that I've got for you. Hope you all have a great day. Bye.